Pink Floyd masterpiece. Today we're going to take a look at Shine On You Crazy Diamond, a little bit about all of the parts, actually a ton of information here. Now this song was of course from the album Wish You Were Here in 1975, and one of the greatest collaborative efforts that the band ever put together, because it's such a complex piece. It accounts for over half the album, 25 minutes worth of music in parts 1 through 9. Many of which don't have much guitar playing in them, or a few of which don't. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about the parts in a second. But first, a little bit more history about the song, because and the album. Of course, they were just hot off the heels of Dark Side of the Moon being just one of the greatest albums ever made. And put this together, this song in particular started with an idea of Roger Waters, but it was kind of dedicated towards their original guitar player, Syd Barrett, who unfortunately had all kinds of health and mental problems that really prevented him from staying with the band and continuing his career. But he really set them on the path. His songs were a little quirkier and stuff like that, but they really look at him as the guiding light for where the band eventually went. So this was definitely a homage to Syd, as were many other songs, Wish You Were Here, and of course there's a fascinating story about while they were recording this, Syd, who they hadn't seen in many years, shows up in the recording studio and it's just kind of sitting there. David Gilmour says they didn't even recognize him. What a cool set of 4 notes. Dissonant, spooky, mysterious, everything you want. Now, I'm at the 6th fret of the 6th fret of the 2nd string and the 8th fret of the 4th string, playing a B flat here and an F here, and then the 2 open strings, the open G and the open E along with it. So what we have there is 4 notes all ringing together, B flat to F, to the open G, and to the high open E. Now those 4 notes are 4 of the notes that would be in many extended G minor chords, and we're going to call this a G minor 13. You're going to see this a lot in here. The right hand is mostly going to be strumming chords in our 6/4 time, just keeping a steady flow of quarter notes. I'm playing G minor here, but our standard 6-beat strum would be something like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and. So I'm going to try to break down a lot, of what the guitar does in most of the parts of Shine On You Crazy Diamond here. Part 1 really just opens up for a few minutes, it's about 4 minutes long, of mostly just kind of ambient keyboards in the background. The vocal parts of the song, parts 4 and 7. Part 4 has 2 verses sung and part 7 has 1 verse sung, but that's the only singing that happens in the whole suite of 9 pieces. And this is actually pretty straightforward as far as playing, as long as you're in good shape with bar chords. Again, I've kind of harped on that with this lesson, but if you're struggling with bar chords, this song is going to be tough. I want to take a short look at some of the arpeggio things now that happen in Shine On You Crazy Diamond. We of course have the beginning one from part 2, the main lick. Very simply, we're picking that one in standard alternating picking. Down, up, just having our hand move up and down at the speed, or down and up at the speed of 8th notes. So that's a good time, again, to use just standard picking, meaning alternating picking, because the strings kind of alternate what area of the neck they're on. Now later on in the song, we want to use a cross-picking technique, because things are happening either in groups of 3s, which happens in just a second, well, they're still happening in groups of 3s in the beginning. So now what I'm talking about is part 5. Get out your tablature there to part 5, which starts at 11:10 on the recording. When they finish the last word, Shine, the last word of vocals, is right where that measure kicks in. And the beginning of part 5 is playing our main theme. A couple of times, rings out for a few more measures, and plays it one more time. And now when we get to that E right up there at the top, in measure, can't read the measure numbers there, but towards the end of the first line, we now start pairs of notes. This really is an arpeggio. Oops. Let me try it one more time. There we go. Now we're playing 2 notes out of every 3, so the timing is very important on this, because if we were playing 3 it'd be da 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 da, da, da. But we're going da, 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 because we have an eighth note and then a quarter note. Back to blues for a second. I'm going to do a play along with a metronome version that you can strum along here with if you like, or you can practice playing your lead in the key of G minor too. This is going to be our 12-bar blues in G minor. This is part 3 of Shine On. And what I'm going to do is set the metronome at 132. Now that's eighth note speed rather than quarter note speed. We're in 12/8 time really in this section. So we'll listen to 6 beats and then we'll take it from the top. The chords change very slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3. That's one measure. 2, 3, 4. That's 2 measures. That's 3 measures. Finally, a chord change